we're up. Let me just double check.
I can come.
Welcome, everyone. Oh, yes, I see that they see us. Welcome, everyone.
What's up, everybody?
Put a one in the chat and let us know that you can see and hear us.
Happy Friday, happy Friday, happy Friday. Let us know how y'all Friday is going. If y'all Friday as busy as ours, how everybody feeling?
Yes, the one thing I always say about our Finance Friday is obviously to be called Finance Friday, it's a Friday show. But Friday is always the busiest day. Traffic, everything is always happening on Friday. We got Julesy in the chat. Hey, Julesy, thanks for joining.
Houston traffic crazy. What's up, Jules?
I mean, Friday traffic is just, I try not to do anything. Like Friday is always my day that I am working. I'm going to try my best to work from home just because of those reasons. Hey, Dr. Lydia, how are you?
Dr. Lilia always here every Friday. Hey,
Yeah, every Friday. Thank you. I called you earlier today too. I had a crazy week. I was trying to vent. I have to catch you up. But thanks for joining us. Yes, but it's Friday. So like even I feel like Friday morning, afternoon, evening, everything is always crazy. Something about Fridays. It's just people are trying to get home, get wherever they're trying to get because of the weekend. But it's always like that. It is what it is. But thank you everyone for being here for Finance Friday, the CEO Lounge. We're always so grateful when we have people that have tuned in. We've been getting a lot of good feedback from our show. I met with someone this week and they were talking about our show. So I'm glad that people who are even not able to meet with us live are able to even catch the replay because we got another good letter today. Going through a lot of different things. Everybody, I mean, I feel like everybody's going through something, and especially financially. Like it really is just a great time to have this conversation because everyone is going through something individually in their relationships, no matter what tier of life you are in financially. It's just always something. And the biggest thing where I love the letters is because it's just so hard to get two people on the same page. So that's why we keep getting a lot of things that have to do with relationship wise, as far as financing, because finances is a huge part of any relationship, even if it's just a friendship. Finances just play a huge role in how often you can have a girls' night. I even had girls that ladies' night that complain because they put in the group chat to have a ladies' night. And then everybody ain't got their money, or then everybody's starting to back out or trying to do a girls trip or whatever it may be. And people start constantly backing out because their finances are not in order. So again, I am excited about the conversation today and excited about today's letter. You tell me, do you want me to get started with the letter? I think everybody can see and hear us.
Yeah, I'm ready. Let's jump right into it.
All right, let's jump in. All right, so the title of this week's Finance Friday letter is The Graduation Gambler. Subject is, he gambled our daughter's college fund on a crypto sure thing. So dear Dr. Ed and I Am Brand CEO, our daughter is graduating high school in just a few weeks. She's worked so hard, maintained a 4.0 GPA, and got accepted into her dream university. We've been saving in her 529 plan since she was in diapers, or so I thought. Last week, I logged in to make the first tuition deposit and my heart stopped. The balance, which should have been $45,000, was nearly zero. When I confronted my husband, he broke down and confessed. 6 months ago, he got sucked into a wealth building Discord group where a crypto guru promised that a specific meme coin was going to be a guaranteed 10x by the spring. He moved the entire college fund without even telling me. Convinced he'd surprise us by doubling the tuition, instead, the coin crashed to zero. Now our daughter is devastated and crying in her room because she thinks her future is completely gone. My husband's solution, He wants me to co-sign for a predatory $50,000 personal loan at an 18% interest rate just to patch the hole. Dr. Ed, tuition is due in August. Is there any way to secure funding for her without destroying my own credit and falling into a debt trap? And I am brand CEO. How am I supposed to look at my husband as a partner when he gambled with our child's future for a get rich quick scheme? Hey, Jordan. I see
Hey,
Jordan.
Well, that's a lot to unpack there.
It's definitely a lot to unpack. And I think I had a little idea of how I wanted to do this letter this week because it's a lot to unpack. So first, I identified when I first read through the letter 3 red flags. So the first discussion on the red flag that I personally identified is just the dangers of get rich quick schemes versus actual wealth building. So do you want to start talking about that a little bit? Like the difference, we talk every week about, what we see on Instagram and things like that on social media with all of the get rich quick type of things versus sitting down and actually having like actual wealth building strategies.
Yeah, I'll touch on it a little bit. I first would just say, if you think it's any get rich quick schemes and we've been here this long in 2026, then honestly, I don't know. You might deserve what's coming to you, because if you haven't realized that at this point yet, it's no get rich quick scheme. It ain't nothing that's going to have you rich overnight. I mean, you can go play the lottery as much as you want, but most of the time, like, it's no such thing as get rich quick. Like, you get in what you put out. You got to put in hard work if you want, those type of results. So especially as an adult, like, I wish they would have, again, another week said their age at least, because it's no reason that. And then even if you have a personal, like, even if he didn't believe it was a get rich quick scheme and he believed that, this might be a great investment, he still should have did something else where he like, okay, he should have maybe asked her to co-sign on a personal loan for him to do that and got her permission to do it, not take your daughter's money, use your own money. And if y'all want to decide to use the personal loan to do that, or he can, scrape up another way to come up with the money. But I definitely wouldn't have used the college tuition. I feel like that's very selfish of them as a parent to just take something that your child been working so hard for, and now, like, I wonder how the child feels. Like, I know that the mom is upset about it, of course, but for the child to have a 4.0, like, that stuff that I have a student going into their room breaking down crying if you realize that my whole college tuition is gone. So one, I think the mindset of even believing that anything that's get rich quick, like, I feel like people been saying for years, if like, anything that's worth having won't come easy and stuff like that. So even, like, let's just say $200,000 show up at your doorstep tomorrow. 50% of people will believe God sent it here, and 50% of people will be looking like, that's just a little too sketchy that 200,000 just showed up here. Like, I don't know about that. So I feel like if it's too good to be true, then most of the time it is, and that's something that you shouldn't gamble. I feel like gambling and finances don't mix. Like, if you are somebody who like gambles on sports or gambles on, I don't know, poker, dice, anything like that, that should be with your additional funds, like your additional money that you have or something sitting over to the side, not, expenses that's important like college tuition, especially when the money doesn't belong to you.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And I know week after week we talk about some of the differences between what people see on social media and what they can't tell the difference. That's really the truth. Like, I had a meeting, the same meeting that I was talking about earlier, where we were discussing about the show and so forth. Like, the conversation developed into talking about the show because they really said to me, you can tell just by listening to your son that this is not something that you guys are just making up to have a conversation about. You can tell that these are things that you guys have been talking about, like, all of your kids' lives. Like, he's heard these things. Like, this is not just something, again, that we just, made up for clicks. And
Right.
I feel like people don't know how to tell the difference. We talked about some of the books that we've read in the past that, just for views and clicks, they have put these things out there, but we don't know if they're truly living it. And we also had discussed in that meeting as well, where some people will maybe they have amassed a certain amount of success. We talked about some other creators. I'm not going to name everybody or name any names, but it's some other creators online that have millions of followers, and say they're in the finance space. They will insinuate that they got their money from teaching people how to, like, if they're teaching people how to grow via stocks, they'll insinuate that they obtained their wealth from growing stocks, when truthfully, they may have had like a payout from a family member that passed away, or they may have had a wrongful death lawsuit, and a bunch of different ways how they obtained that money to start investing. But instead, they'll insinuate, that they made all of this money in the stock market, and that's how they started investing. And I feel like people nowadays just don't know how to separate the two. They get confused. Dr. Lydia said, tell her not to agree to that loan. At 18%, $50,000 personal loan is exactly how people fall into long-term financial damage. That's high interest, unsecured debt, and it will wreck your credit. Exactly.
Yeah, I was going to mention
He recommended
that. That's crazy. She said if anything goes wrong, you'd be paying far more than $50,000 over time.
Exactly. And you would think that the possibility of him even saying, he didn't even say to do a student loan, like a Parent Plus loan, but a $50,000 personal loan. The interest rate is going to be so high on that. It's going to have to be paid back immediately. So it's not going to be deferred payments. That's going to just be a hit to their family's budget, everything. Like, I don't even know why he would recommend that. And honestly, just like you said, if he's making that recommendation, he needs to be pulled off the committee of handling the finances.
The funds. Yeah. I think he just need to be a little bit more educated overall. And I feel like this advice that anybody can take. I feel like if you're making a major move as far as like saving up to, buy a home, saving up to do something with college or tuition, or saving up towards a marriage, a vacation, anything that's like a major move, not just a regular vacation, but like if you're going on a honeymoon for marriage or something like that, I feel like you should have a plan with that money. Like once you get above a certain X amount of dollars, like it shouldn't just be, oh, I just lost this one on a gambling and it didn't work. Can you sign for me to go ahead and get this money right here? Like, no, you don't even have a plan of what you're gonna do with that money. Like you just gonna take it and try to put it back to our daughter's tuition, or like and then once you do that, how you gonna accumulate the money? Like I think a lot of people, even when it comes to business funding and stuff, see the number like, okay, I'm gonna get $50,000, but they don't understand that anytime you get a loan or credit or anything like that, it's still in a different form of debt. Like you still have to accumulate your own stream of income in order to repay back that $50,000. So
yeah, I've had at seminars before, my investment seminars, people ask me, a very popular question is what's floating around on social media about leveraging credit. And the issue is that they're teaching it all wrong. They're telling people to go to Navy Federal and some of these other places. Navy Federal is just one of the most popular, so I'm going to pick on them in this example. But what they're doing is they're telling people to go to these institutions and apply for credit. And the initial scam was to say that you're getting a car loan, not actually get the car loan, have them deposit the money into your bank account, and amass all of these different credit cards through different banks and different institutions to use it for business funding.
And go to jail.
That's now 5. First off, you're going to jail. That's a federal offense. Like stay away from the feds. Number one, if you're going to be scamming out there, stay away from the feds and jail. The silver bracelet, stay away from that. Number one. Number two, do you know when you do that for business funding, instead of educating yourself properly, you've now created 4 or 5 different avenues that have high interest credit, because we know they're giving you high interest on all of these cards. That's going to have, if you really do a cash advance on all of those cards for all, any kind of high balances, you're going to owe all this back. And now you're going to turn around, just for the sake of business funding, you're going to have $100,000 worth of debt before you even start the business. And most of the time, the first 5 years of most businesses, they don't even make any revenue. So it's like, that's one of those get rich quick schemes that people are teaching. And I just really don't understand that at all. Oh, here go Jordan. Jordan said she agrees. Thank you, Jordan. Yes, it's like I really don't understand it. So it's kind of like these get rich quick things and then a sure thing crypto. Like obviously he didn't even educate himself because who would use sure thing and crypto in the same sentence?
Yeah, but that's never. I mean, even gambling, crypto, any of that, like it's not. That's not a for sure investment. It's always a risk. I would put. I wouldn't say it's always a gamble, but it's always a risk, especially if you don't know what you're doing. Because he literally, she said that he basically said that he was convinced he was going to come surprise them by doubling the money. So not only was you not trying to just, one times your investment or point 0.5 times your investment, you thought you was going to come out with $100,000 off of that play? Like that was terrible. I don't know who, and I feel like he should have just communicated more about it. When you dealing with other people's finances or your finances is, combined with somebody else, whether it's a spouse or a child or supposed to be put towards somebody else, I feel like it should be a lot more communication than what it has been in the past few letters. Like it's just a lot of people who married and dating one another and don't know about their partner's credit score or their person's finances and stuff. So I feel like even the person you with, just have regular conversations. You can pretty much go out to dinner or sit on the couch, watch a movie or whatever, be in the house and find out if your partner or not is financially savvy or not. I mean, every partner is not just going to be financially savvy with like, oh, they supposed to control the money or they might not, they might know what to do with it. And that's something that I feel like people need to understand more. Is my partner somebody who I can trust financially, or do we need to learn more information together?
Yeah, Brandon said, hey, Brandon, thanks for joining us again. He said, I totally agree. All debt ain't good debt, and crypto debt can be even worse, especially when you don't know what you're doing. He literally jumped into this course. Somebody convinced him that by the spring he can 10 times his money. Like that should be a red flag already. And that's when you already have that mindset that you're going to get rich quick. And that's one thing I always say when people reach out to me, I let them know I do not know how to teach you how to get rich quick. This has been a slow, long churn for my husband and I. People that have been around us have watched us grow, watched us take these baby steps and really, sometimes it was we really had to buckle down on some things. Then sometimes we had the opportunity to do a little more until we had to grow. Like one thing I do not know how to do at all, I do not know how to teach get rich quick. Like it just doesn't work for me. So somebody telling him that he's going to 10 times his money by the spring. The spring is like right around the corner.
Rome said he sound like a fool.
I was like, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's just not how money works. People who believe that you're gonna put in $1,000 and in the morning I'm gonna have 5,000 back, like that's just really not how it works. Even I'm just gonna ask, since I see that Brandon on here now. I know last Friday he was talking about Chevron, and when I was doing my research on Chevron, I basically came up with Chevron would be a good long-term hold. Even today, I feel like, and I know I jumped around a little bit, but it's all gonna come full circle. But every investment is not. That's why it's different type of traders. That's why you got swing traders, intraday traders. Like it's all different type of traders because some people understand that. Okay, I might get into this trade now, but I might not exit this trade until 7 days. Like it's people out here who put their money into the market and don't even expect a return until 2 weeks, sometimes a month or something like that. So when I was looking up Chevron, it basically was saying that Chevron is currently dropping right now, like it's going down. And of course with gas and oil and stuff like that. But I did do some research and see that it's a good long-term hold. Like any of those stocks that you see that's at the bottom right now, Chevron, Nvidia, I got a list of my oil and gas stocks and stuff too. But that's at the bottom. I think this would be a good time to start buying some of those low stocks. But just know that, yes, you can buy Chevron now, but you're not going to see your profit back next week. It might just take some overtime to do it. So people got to understand what you're getting into, and stop listening to people on social media all the time. Like if somebody never made $1 million, it's impossible for them to teach you how to make $1 million. They never done it. And one thing I've learned, not even personally because I don't believe nothing that's on social media anyway, but just learn from watching others, is that a lot of the time these people will create, and I'm not against it at all, I'm just using an example, will create different courses or mentorships and stuff like that. And yes, it'll like they have a lot of money because they charging $100, $50, $250 for mentorship, and they have 250 students. So yes, I'm getting money residually from the mentorship, from clients sending it in, but they're not necessarily just making money from their skill. So you got to understand when people is making money from the skill, like, okay, yes, this person is a real estate agent, and now they have a course where you can learn how to pass your real estate exam, and they charge you $75 a person with 500 students in their class. Yes, it's going to look like they're making income, but that doesn't mean that this person has $1 million in real estate sitting over there to the side. So people have to understand that as well.
Yep. If anything, they probably put $5,000 into marketing and Facebook ads and Instagram ads, and now the ads have amassed them this popularity. Now they have all of these people that have jumped into the course because now you become popular, but nobody did the research on, did this person actually, like you said, amass the wealth that they're saying through what they're saying that they're the expert in? Like that's a different thing. You know, is the education just some topics? Like I watched a podcast last week, and they had a panel of people that the person that was hosting the podcast is a very popular podcast. I can't even think of the name of it at this exact moment, but he went and grabbed 2 or 3 people who also have different, very popular Instagram pages, and he brought them to the table on kind of like a panel, and he asked them, he said, you did a live recently that said buying a home was a waste of money and that nobody should do it. And the guy
watched it this
week. Even the guy responded back and he said, did I say that? Because he did it for clicks. You know what I'm saying? He did it just for clicks. So now that somebody brought it to his attention that he said that, and kind of now you got to explain yourself, because now you're in a panel and we want you to explain yourself more than a 60-second reel on why you said that. And he was basically almost walking it back. And a lot of what he was saying, you can tell that he wasn't educated. He was saying things like, you know, if you get an investment property, they were saying my property, my mortgage went up and I'm not even really sure why. How are you in real estate and you're not sure what makes your mortgage payment go up? That doesn't even make sense. It's only certain factors that increase your mortgage payment if you have a fixed rate interest rate. So to even say you don't know, even if he doesn't have a fixed interest rate, you don't know where to go check what affects the increase in your mortgage. Like you should, if my mortgage payment went up on any of my properties, I know exactly where to go look at to see where that change possibly could have came from. And it's only a small handful of places. And for him to say he doesn't know what happened was just kind of, and they were calling him out for it, but I was just like, why are people listening to these things? You know, it just doesn't even make any sense to listen to those things. Like stay away from the popular people. That's what I feel like this is a little bit too. Like somebody, you know, made them feel like, and it was probably, again, somebody that had better marketing skills that told them they was going to 10x their money, then actually had expertise in this to be able to guide them through it. Like if you're actually taking, like you said, a course and you're doing step-by-step and really educating yourself before you dip your money in there, but in order to even learn, now you have to put $45,000.
Yeah, I was actually going to text you earlier in the week. It's just been a super busy week, but that's a social proof podcast with
that's what it is.
David Shands. I watch David Shands a lot, and I think he is real intelligent. And the other guy, Smitty the Goat, and I forgot his partner name, but Smitty the Goat, like he do be giving some good advice. But yeah, I seen it when he first put it on Instagram. He said that buying a house is dumb, like owning a house is dumb.
That's what he said.
That was his statement. But it was like, it's like you guys are up here making all this money off real estate, so why would you tell people that's the same age and want to be in the same position as you that buying a house was dumb? And at the very end of the episode, they basically came up because David Shands and the lady up there, they was getting a little pissed off.
I was about to say, the ladies, he was giving it to him. Like,
I can't think
the ladies' name. I gotta get that information in the chat.
Like, this is dumb. That's like telling somebody, oh, don't get into real estate. Like, that's not smart at all. So what you should tell them is, don't get into real estate with this amount of money until you are educated on it, which is the same as any investment. So that's basically what they came up with, that you should get educated before you start buying properties. You should get educated before you start investing. You should get educated before. That's like just like doing anything. Like you just need to, get educated. And I'm glad that you also said something about the big influencers, because I'm not against the big influencers. Like I like the ones who start at the bottom and work their way up. Mm-hmm. But I also would just piggyback on that by saying, if you're somebody who at the surface level, the ground level, don't immediately, like you said, shoot to the influencer that have 2.3 million followers, because by now they probably did do the groundwork. But one, systems probably changed over time. I know for credit, systems change. I'm pretty sure real estate systems change. Laws are changing every day. The markets change every day, so they might on their come up, figure it out. But now by the time they worth X amount of dollars, they probably putting systems in place, automatic AI systems in place. So now it's just a quick response to your Instagram, and you think you're talking to them, you talking to a bot. You're not even talking to the actual person. So I feel like
they have call centers that are reaching out to people,
yeah.
the teams in place. So it's just like you're comparing yourself to that. And it's just like you have no idea what the groundwork is. And that's exactly what it seems like in this letter. And then even advising a personal loan, like everything, like I said, remove him from being a person that handles things. He shouldn't even have access to the 529 plan anymore. And I did want to take a quick second just to say, if people don't know what a 529 plan is, it is an educational savings plan that's supposed to grow over time tax-free. So what I really wanted to point out with this letter as well is what he did not mention. And obviously, I don't even know if this says signed, betrayed at the finish line. So betrayed at the finish line, I'm not sure if your husband has spoke to you about the fact that removing that money to put it into crypto probably triggered tax implications. So when you guys go to file your taxes, you're probably going to get a statement from whoever is the shareholder of this 529 plan, because it's supposed to be for educational purposes. It can be for books, it can be for tuition, it can be for room and board. And actually in 2024, they actually just started the ability that if a student or a child decides that they don't want to go to college, because that was the biggest fear with the 529, is that I don't want to save this money for my kid in this account, from birth, and then they grow up and decide they don't want to go to college, or college is not for them. Now, what do I do with this money? So in 2024, they just allowed you to roll it over into a Roth, not roll it over into crypto. So it probably triggered definitely some tax implications that they should worry about coming in line next, because again, she probably is not aware of those things, and clearly he is not aware. He pulled the money out. It should have given some kind of trigger warning when you go to pull the money out. And I'll say, just for people like Brandon, if he's still on here, because I know he has some little ones and was asking last week, that I selected or elected with my children to not do a 529. My children had what's called a UGMA. So an UGMA can be used for educational benefits and educational expenses, or anything else. They can go get a car, they can buy their first home, they can do different things. So that's just my tidbit on, just researching those different things where you want to start investing, if you're going to invest with your children early to get them started, because they can use money from their UGMA, and they will tell you, because I transfer money to them from their UGMA for anything. It doesn't have to just be for tuition.
Brandon asks, what's a UGMA basically?
Yep, it's called the Uniform Guide Act of Minors. Let me get the exact acronym for UGMA. I'm gonna look it up really quickly while you still talk. But yes, it is called a UGMA account, and that is my favorite over a 529, because of those reasons where you just don't know if your child is going to, if they're going to go to college or not. So UGMA stands for Uniform Gift to Minors Act. That's what the acronym stands for. So that's the one that I would always use. And it's, what did he say?
Yeah, I need that.
Yeah, so my kids, since they were little, I opted for a UGMA. Sometimes UGMA is not as popular, and you would need a financial advisor, which my old financial advisor, she's not even in the business anymore. She recommended that, because that was one of my fears. Like, they're 7 years old, they're 8, different ages. How do I know if they're going to go to college or what they're going to do? And I didn't. And at that time, like I said, the 2024, you can roll it over to a Roth. That was just implemented. At first, it was a bunch of tax implications. You had, save up $50,000 per child, and now you're going to get hit with 10% taxes if they decide not to go to college. All this money you've been putting in there. So that's why I opted for my children for a UGMA. So hopefully everybody caught that, Jim. I look into UGMA versus 529.
Yes, and I'm glad she said look into it, because don't, just like we tell them with everything else, learn your own information on it. Just because you hear an influencer or Dr. Ebb say, that don't just mean run and go get an UGMA. I just typed it in real fast myself in ChatGPT. just to do a little quick background, and even at the end, ChatGPT said I can compare it to a 529 to see what best fits your situation. So,
Exactly.
make sure that it's worked for your situation as well.
Yeah, whatever's best for your family. That was just what was best for us. And obviously, I had 3 adult children. So I feel like I made the right decision because when they're little, you don't know, am I making the right decision? I want to start putting all this chunk of money aside somewhere. But I know some people that use a 529 and they love it, and their children end up going to college and utilizing it, and they can transfer from one student to a sibling. So say if that sibling doesn't go to college, if you have multiple children, you can transfer that 529 on to the next one until you find little Johnny that want to go to college. You know what I'm saying? You can do that as well. It just depends on, because you never know, depending on the age that you start out. And even if it's not college, any kind of educational benefit. So it would still have to be connected to some kind of educational benefit or educational advantage that is approved through 529 without the tax implications. That's the main thing that you're always trying to avoid is taxes on all of this.
I don't know what to my phone. I missed the rest of all I heard was the uniform.
Oh, he said that. Tell me what part you didn't hear. So it's Uniform Gift to Minors Act, but the acronym is just how you put it in the chat, UGMA. So yes, it stands for Uniform Gift to Minors Act. I had to look up exactly what the acronym is because I just always call it UGMA. But yes, I appreciate that. And then the next thing that she asked for me, just to piggyback to the letter again, is she said, how do I get the tuition paid? What do I do? Because tuition is due in August. I mean, it's April. If you're trying to amass, $50,000 to replace it, and you don't have that $50,000, you would need a large lump sum. The only thing I would recommend at this time, which I mean, is an alternative resource, because clearly you guys didn't want to do this initially, but now you may be stuck a little bit. You may have to do a Parent Plus loan, because she did say in the letter that her daughter's in the other room crying. She's very upset that now she's thinking, like you said, I know how I am with my grades. So if I work this hard to achieve my grades and now all of a sudden I did my part, we always say as parents, go to school, do what you need to do. The daughter has done their part, and now all of a sudden they reap the benefit of going to her dream college that she was accepted to. So hopefully they have the credit to possibly qualify for a Parent Plus loan. I would say that that's the quickest sure thing. I don't know how much money they will be able to put into something like a money market account to try to get, or high yield savings to try to get some growth between now and April. But it would still need to be a lump sum. Like you said, you can't put 5,000 in there and in 3 months have 50,000. It just doesn't work like that.
Yeah, and just to piggyback on what she was asking, she said, I am brand CEO. How am I supposed to look at my husband as a partner when he gambled for our child's future for a get rich quick scheme? And I would just say, I would just look at him honestly. Like and by saying that, I just would sit down, and I feel like everybody needs to just face the situation head on. I wouldn't say, oh, just separate from this person, just leave them. But also, y'all need to sit down and have a honest conversation with one another, about the information that they both know, even her, because she said that he didn't even communicate. She said that, he moved the entire college funds without telling me. So that's already a lack of communication right there. So I wouldn't just solely leave him, even though he is the one who did it, but also I would have to take some accountability as well on her. You dealing with your partner, y'all should have better communication in your relationship, or he should have enough respect for you to even say, hey, I'm going to go move this money. And then if he did mess it up, it's still not showing a lot of level of respect or even maturity and accountability, because now he's like, oh, can you co-sign on this? It's like, no, you dug yourself in that hole. You figure out a way to get our daughter out of it. I'm not going to put us in a more bigger hole with almost 20% of interest on this loan that you're asking me to take out. Rome says, sounds like she's going to be going to community college at this point. 50,000 isn't going to be easy for them to get.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough sale to try to get that back overnight. Yeah, that's going to be
that's something where his child might not talk to him for a couple of months. Hopefully he can, keep his relationship with his child better for sure, because she going to be heartbroken about that if she's not able to get into that school.
Yeah, Brandon
Counseling
said
definitely.
counseling definitely, and followed by financial literacy classes for the whole family. Like that's a great recommendation, and I would highly recommend like getting to some marriage counseling, because that was my second red flag. So I said that I jotted down some red flags. My second red flag was, can a marriage survive financial infidelity? And that's really what that is. Like, you kept it a secret. You pulled out money from your child. We don't know the age specifically, but clearly they have a child that's of college age, or about, it looks like a going to college, probably a high school senior at this time. So I'm assuming 17, 18 years. That's almost like a infidelity. Like, you literally kind of went against the family on this, and this is something that's more than just a slap on the wrist. So I would definitely agree with Brandon that we might have to bring in a professional to have a conversation with us, especially depending on their reaction to it. Is he being accountable? Like, we didn't get that deep in the letter. I don't know the husband's response to bringing all of this to the table. I know he's trying to just think quickly and tell you to get into this loan, which you definitely don't do that. Let's make it clear. We're saying do not do that.
Yeah, don't do the predatory loan, personal loan.
Do not do that. But definitely you're going to have to sit down and possibly have a conversation, bring in a third party that is a counselor that can be able to sit down and go over some things with your family and talk about some better communication strategies. That's going to be really, really important. Talk about the reason why he was afraid to bring this to you. Talk about the reason why he felt as though you guys needed to get rich quick. So I don't know. Sometimes as a wife, she may be feeling like, we were in a decent situation. Why did you even have to do this? Like, so I would probably want to know a little bit more about that as well. I don't know their current situation, but I would just be devastated if it would be kind of like, why did you even do this? Just because, someone said it on social media, and now, because to have that amount of money saved, clearly somebody has some kind of discipline, to even put that money away over time to get to the amount. Like, the average American does not have $50,000 saved for their child to go off to college. So I'm assuming at some point there was some discipline. I don't know if she was just putting the money in there or if they were both contributing, but I'm assuming he was, just because he had access to the account.
Yeah, I also would just piggyback real fast just by saying, like, I don't even, I wish it was a little bit more detailed, because I don't think that he was being malicious but doing it, but I definitely just think he was irresponsible, because I feel like it could go away where he might have didn't tell her because she said that he was trying to surprise her. So he might have really been locked into this, crypto course or whatever Discord he done joined, and he's studying it, and he just like, this is the one. But I mean, obviously it wasn't the one. So before, like, you should at least know that you dealing with somebody and they have this grand crypto scheme in their mind, but they're not going to touch our $50,000 and try to test it out with that. Like that just shouldn't be the end result of it. So I feel like definitely just need to be a little bit more responsible, and like you said, maybe take a little bit more accountability for his own actions, because now it's 3 parties involved: the dad, the mom, and now the daughter. And it's like, what do we all do now? So I agree, better communication and more accountability.
Exactly. So I do want to jump to the quick hits portion of our show, because I did have a quick hit in real estate that I wanted to discuss, and I do have a few events in real estate that I wanted to share with everyone. But in my real estate investor group earlier today, I shared a video of someone that is actually going viral on TikTok and Instagram. She is, I believe, in Baltimore, and her video gained a lot of attention because she started talking about the fact that she's possibly about to lose her home. And one thing that I have gained from the conversation is that, like you said, even in my industry, people are so busy. And this is just the truth. I don't like to go against Jerome said good intentions, bad execution. Exactly. That just wasn't the right strategy. But I don't like to go against any real estate or industry professionals. However, I will say that for years, a part of my practice, especially being from Baltimore and working in the Baltimore area, is that we're known to have a lot of flips. And what that means is investors are coming into the area, purchasing properties at a low price, which means, or possibly even condemned homes. We've seen all of that in Baltimore. And typically, before they're renovated, the property taxes are really low. So you'll see homes in Baltimore that even have property taxes. I've seen $18. I've seen $11. But we know once that home is renovated, that's not a true value of the property. And what my fellow industry professionals are not doing, or possibly not educated to know, is that when you have a buyer that's purchasing a home that is renovated, and we know for a fact this is a flip. We can look at pictures from 6 months ago on the MLS and we can see that the home looks totally different. We can look at the tax record and we can see that it's in a name of an LLC. This is an investor that has this property. Typically, if you have a really great team, the lender, title company, as well as your real estate broker or real estate agent will be able to identify that and bring that to your attention, that we're going to have to put another calculation into the property taxes. So what I'm saying is that a lot of times when we do that, that may knock the buyer out of being qualified. So because your buyer comes to you and they say, I really, really want this house so bad, then we're seeing a lot of industry professionals not do the proper calculation on property taxes. People are purchasing these homes with a $32 annual property tax bill. The city is reassessing the property, and now all of a sudden your property tax bill is $3,200 annually. And now your mortgage payment has skyrocketed $900 a month. So this young lady went viral because this particular scenario pretty much happened to her. Her mortgage payment, I believe, went up. She said it was almost $1,000 increase. So let's just say you think that your mortgage payment, and you bought a home for safekeeping, and your mortgage payment was even going to be $1,500. But your mortgage payment to go to $1,500 to $2,500, people just are not able to afford that. So she's going viral right now because her house was reassessed, and prior to closing, the real estate professionals that were in the transaction did not do the proper calculation to assess the proper tax rate for that renovation, because that home is going to be reassessed. The city, I promise you, 1,000 times out of 1,000, the city is going to come back to do their assessment, and they're going to determine that property is not a condemned house anymore. Now it's a beautiful 6-bedroom, 4.5 bath with cathedral ceilings, new windows, all of these things. And it's going to be assessed. Jerome said should have came to MacArthur Realty Group. Yes, you should have came over to MacArthur Realty Group, because we do this all the time. We run the numbers for the new tax bill. You can look and use the county percentage or the city percentage at the tax rate times the sales price, so that you'll be able to determine what that new tax bill will look like. And it's definitely in Baltimore City. It's no homes that someone has just renovated from the ground up that have a tax bill of $30. We would all love that. So I just feel for the young lady. She's going viral. If you have not seen it already, then it's all over the internet. So that was kind of my quick hit in real estate, to just beware and to educate yourself as well when you're purchasing a home. That's why we have these free first-time home buyer seminars, so we can try to make people as comfortable as possible, get as much information out. It's probably going to be other people that's in the room asking questions. Those questions are probably something that you may have the question for as well, and just didn't even know to ask it. And then you can kind of always pick up on a gem in those sessions. And my other quick hits is just some of my upcoming events. So through my nonprofit organization, MacArthur Group Community Outreach, on April 21st, we're hosting a life and legacy webinar. If you are interested in learning more about asset protection, wills, trust, probation, all of those things, like you want to get on to learn those things and how to get those things set up to protect your life for your loved ones, as well as your assets in the future, to make sure one day when we're not here anymore that your assets are protected, and especially if you're a homeowner, especially if you have accounts that have $50,000 or so in there. We want to make sure that those are protected, as well as we just did the announcement for our June first-time home buyer seminar, and we still have federal grant money as well. So if anybody is interested, we are almost 7 weeks later and we still have federal grant money for both federal programs. Do you have anything that you want to add on the stock side? I know you kind of did yours early on some of the Chevron stocks or whatever, but anything you wanted to add that's trending in your avenue or your neck of the woods, or everything's still volatile? Or
Um, just a little bit. Like I said, y'all know I watch Wall Street Trapper a lot. And he was talking about how the Feds are supposedly putting $40 billion into the market. Which, if you pay attention to the markets, it does repeat over time. Like if you go back to 2011, usually you'll see the market eventually start to repeat, and usually like April around this time of the year, it does start to like push a little bit more. So I would say like tech stocks, financials, industrial stocks, Robinhood, Microsoft, Nvidia, even Bitcoin is doing good now. So like I said, don't necessarily worry about all of the stocks that already took off, but some of the ones that still just kind of sitting at the surface level or look a little low, this will be the time to go ahead and start, investing little by little. Even if you want to put 100, then another 100, like how we talked about, not just dumping all your money into one basket. You might want to put some over here. Like you might want to get 3 stocks. Let's say you got Nvidia, Robinhood, and Microsoft, and you just put $250 in each one or $200 in each one. So I think he said, so what do you think will happen with the market now that the straight is open back up? Is open back up? I mean, I think it, like I said, it usually repeat itself. So I think it's but to start pushing. I think a lot of people got caught in the liquidity grab and they started selling their shares that they had because they seen the market going down and all of the Trump talk and uh Powell. His name he a senator in the US government. Whenever Powell talk and whenever Trump talk, they can definitely make the market go like up and down. But I think it's a good time to get in. Not be scary with it, but also know that it's not going to be a immediate return to your money unless you just quick scalping. Like I believe Monday Bitcoin was at like 70K and the day is Friday and it's at 77,000. I think it was at 78,000 this morning. So that's a pretty drastic jump just for 7 days. But also got to know what pairs is you getting in. Like different pairs is volatile. Just because Bitcoin jumped like that in 1 week don't mean everyone is going to jump like that. So I would say do your research on pairs that you would like. I mean, stuff that you use. Nvidia is a good one. Like we was talking about last week, we already used Robinhood. Robinhood looked like it's at a good level. Microsoft, same three ones. I keep saying Bitcoin. And this is just what I was looking at this week a little bit. QQQ, just depending on where the level is at. So I'll just do your research on what you exactly getting into. Find a good entry, and don't be looking for immediate return. He said he's a decent guy to listen to, but I also on the stock side, how you feel about dividend paying stocks and what are your personal top 2 or 3? I really don't have any like dividends. Like I'm not into no dividends right now. So when I started off investing, I started off on the foreign exchange side of it, Brandon. I was starting off on the foreign exchange market, and then I would say sometime last year I started transitioning that over from the foreign exchange to actually learning about stocks and stuff like that. So
yeah, and I do have a few of them that I have dividends. Again, I don't check mine as much because my stock portfolio I consider more of a long-term strategy. Like all of my stuff is long-term. I'm not old, but I'm a little older. So my stuff is not
I know you sitting in stuff from years ago. You
yeah, I'm
AMD,
gonna
you
say my
still in
stuff
AMD?
yeah, my AMD, all of that stuff. Like I was putting the kids on AMD daggone near 10 years
That
ago.
was
You
like
know
my
what I'm
eighth
saying?
grade year, seventh grade
Yeah,
year.
I was putting them on some of those stocks saying, hey guys, get a stockpile account, start buying $20, $15. I mean, I remember AMD was like $28 a share or something. I think it's all the way up to $300-400 a share now.
Yeah.
So all of my stuff is really old. I put it in there. I sometimes create a watch list. I have 3 or 4 different places where I'll do things in the stock market, and that's outside of like mutual funds and things like that, because I do have EFTs that's in mutual funds. But everything for me is a long-term strategy. So I'm a ride the wave of that market. That's just me personally. Unless I see that like I'm taking major hits that I need to pull, then I'm at that stage where I'm a ride the wave, and I'm if I see things that are volatile, then I'll just start watching it a little more. But I really am not even in there every day watching. Like I'll sit down with my financial advisor and every 6 months we used to sit down and have a conversation until I felt a little more comfortable with where things are. But it comes to my stocks personally, I don't really even all my real estate properties, I'm not flipping them. I'm not in the flipping stage anymore. Brandon said that's the bet, and yeah, Eb, I'm still more of a holder too because of where I am financially. So I start small regardless. Yeah, I'm more of a holder. You know, the last real estate property that I sold was in 2007, I believe, or 2008. I haven't sold any real estate in a very long time. Any of the properties that we own, we hold. We plan on, we have tenants in all of them. So even in some of my, Brandon said research is key, though. Absolutely, research is definitely key. Whatever you're getting into, educate yourself. But even in some of my investment groups, I always would love to walk through some of my investment properties to kind of show you guys firsthand and video. But I always have tenants in my property. So I don't really have things that are open, that's available. I have long-term tenants that are there. Most of my tenants have been with me for a very, very long time. I don't have people moving out every month or every 6 months. I don't have a lot of those things. So a lot of our real estate we've had for a very long time. And the last time that we purchased more properties, Jerome and I purchased a property in 21, 22. And I think 22 was our last one before I started really doing more courses. But some of our properties before then is our old stuff. Like we still own the homes that my kids grew up in when they were little. The house that Monte, like he said, when he was in middle school, we still own that house. So I'm a whole person unless I see otherwise. I don't really do a lot of dipping in and out. I just like to kind of watch until I see that it might be getting in too much of a danger zone at my age. But other than that, I'm always hold.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, I just feel like people are like, when you become more financially like savvy or responsible, like you're not too worried about the immediate comeback. Like, so I might pop a trade sometimes on Forex where it's like, okay, I'm trying to make $250 a day or X amount of dollars today. But if I'm getting something on the stocks, most of the time I'm not even worried about the money until a week, a month, or maybe even a couple years later. Like I got stocks that I brought in 2019 from Bitcoin, 2020, 21, and just still sitting in there. So I don't really even want, if I'm putting something in the stock market, usually I'm not looking for a quick return. And I feel like that just come with, over time. Like it come with you getting in the field over time, putting in different reps, and just learning that, fast money is usually not the best money. So when you be, and also it's a lot of different forms of investing, like I keep saying. So I'm also a person where like you'll hear somebody use this strategy, somebody do that. Same for real estate. Somebody might say, oh, I just made 25,000 off this quick fix and flip, and now you trying to jump in and do a fix and flip when really you should have just been a buyer's agent or a seller's. Like you shouldn't have been in fix and flip because that might not have been for you. So I feel like you got to find the niche that works for you and just stick to that. I'm not going to go buy I don't know. I was trying to see. I'm not gonna go buy a flower stock just because somebody said, "Oh, it's a flower stock coming up" or something like that. So I would do my research on it. Like if I see, for example, I would see, like, if I know that Floyd Mayweather and Mike Tyson fight is gonna be on Netflix in September, then I'll start right before September, August a little bit, and I'll start looking to see what Netflix is doing because I know once that fight comes, that Netflix stock going to shoot up. So that I might go ahead and put a couple dollars in there just because I seen something like that happen. But anything else, I'm probably just putting in there and just to follow the trend and hold for a long-term hold. So I really stick to my own strategies unless somebody like have a question or somebody like throw me a gem, then I want to go do my own research, like on the Chevron. Like I was looking at that this week, but usually I don't do that. I just be sticking to my same couple of pairs. But if I hear some information or I see something about it, then I definitely go do my own research and do my own due diligence.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that too, because I say the same thing when people are trying to get investment properties. When they say, is this a good property for investing? To do what with? That's what I've always want to know, what you're going to do with it. Every property not a good flip. Every property not a good hold. Yeah, it just depends on what do you plan on doing with it. So you got to kind of have a plan on what you're going to do with the property. And then I can take you to the next level to tell you if you're going to get the rent return that you wanted to get, if you're going to hold it, if you're going to get the cash flow that you think you wanted to get, plus your renovations, your ARV, which is your after repair value. Once you renovate it, are you going to end up getting the dollar amount that you're looking to get? And it's calculations that I use on both sides, if you're going to flip or if you're going to hold. So every property is not best for the same exact thing. So that's going to always be my question also. So that's why everything is also still a case-by-case basis. Like, it's okay to give general information, but once we get down to, you know, the meat and potatoes, then I really need to know, like, what's your plan with the property? Even if that plan, we have to pivot from the plan a little bit, whatever your plan is, every property don't work for all strategies. Like, some are better for certain things, even on the real estate side. So I always say the same thing also. So I'm hearing that it's the same thing on the other side. But yeah, I am definitely a holder. I do have some of my favorites, like a lot of our mutual fund accounts that we have, as well as even say like my Acorns. I have a few different ones that I'm hitting the market constantly, you know, so I'm constantly, some of my ETFs, I'm constantly buying stocks on a regular basis. So the kids have accounts like that I set up for them when they were a lot younger, and we still do the same thing. So a certain amount of money goes over to buy more shares once a month. So not only we buying it low, we buying it high, we buying it wherever, because we're consistently doing an automatic purchase. So that's something that I believe in for some of our stuff, but again, just not for everything. That's why everything kind of has to be diversified, because we do have some accounts where I have it set to automatic. So I might be buying $200 worth of shares every month from that account for years. And it's just, it comes out on a certain day of the month. And wherever, if we high, if we low, wherever we are, I'm just always hitting whatever the ETF is, how I have it set up, and it's just hitting the market. And I might have 3 or 4 or 5 accounts set up like that. One I might be $200 a month, one I might be $50, one I might be $150, one I might be $300. So once you get to a point where you are able to have some of those funds and just don't even realize that it's gone, like I just don't even realize, because it's been so long, it just comes out a certain day of the month and it just automatically buys stocks for us for those specific accounts. So again, it's a lot to it. You know, that's why we're here. It's a lot of different strategies. It's a lot of different things, but definitely look into what's happening in Baltimore. And the last thing I was going to add real quick, Monte, is that I was at the NAR, which is the National Association of Realtors Broker Summit last week. And the National Association of Realtors has hired an economist whose name is Dr. Yun. He gave a lot of great information, being that I'm a finance person that was sitting in the room. And what he talked about was the predictions and the forecast of the real estate market. And he initially forecast at the end of last year that we were going to end 2026 at like 6% interest rates. Like you said, Jerome Powell, who is the head of the Fed, the Federal Reserve, he is going to be out soon. His time is up, I believe in June or July. I can't remember. But the new person that's coming in, Trump has already appointed who he wants. He's already been talking about who he wants to come in. He actually posted, I believe last week, that he's just going to fire Jerome Powell if you don't do what he says. But it's kind of hard to fire Jerome Powell. So that's why he's just been waiting. We almost at June for the new person to come in. The new person is aligned with some of the things that Trump wants to do as far as lowering interest rates and making his, million and billionaire friends trillionaires and all of those great things. So for 2026, the economists actually predicted that we may only have 2 more rate drops from the Feds in 2026, where at first, in first quarter, we already had Jerome Powell drop interest rates 2 or 3 times. So we were thinking with that prediction that we were going to have 6 to 7 rate decreases in 2026. And now the predictions from the experts are saying we're not. So again, when you're looking to get into these things and you're waiting for the perfect time, it's no such thing as the perfect time. We're all trying to predict the market on the real estate side, on the stock side. Like, we're all looking at trends previously, because he did the same thing. He brought up a ton of trends pre-COVID, so forth. And we watched a bunch of diagrams, and my mind was just going, because I love that type of stuff. But the prediction now that he was saying is that we're going to have 2 rate decreases additionally in 2026, and that we will not end 2026 in the 6%, 5.5%, that we're probably going to end around 6.5%, which is slightly higher than the true prediction. So he's also predicting that maybe 27 might be our year. But keep in mind, they told us that in 24. You know what I'm saying? So if you're thinking, let me hold off until, things get right, whatever you have, start investing. You got $25, open up an Acorns. You got $50, call Primerica, get a mutual fund account. get on stockpile, get $10 worth of stocks, whatever you need to do to get yourself started. You need to get started sooner than later because we can't predict the market. We're trying our best. And like you said, history will naturally repeat itself. So that's why we use that data, but we're literally just using data to make these predictions. But, you know, all the time, they're not 100%. If you're waiting for that perfect time to start, then I don't know if it will ever exist.
Yeah, that was some good gems right there. Like, I just gotta leave y'all with just get into the information. Like, even when you just said that fast, the after repair value, like that literally clicked that fast because I was reading it last week in the Building Wealth Through Real Estate book. So y'all go get the book for sure. At the repair value, all of this stuff about the ARV, literally all my stuff highlighted, everything. So
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not doing nothing but exactly what I'm telling y'all to do every week. Just put yourself in front of the information. Whether it's new information, old information, investments, your health, spirituality, whatever it is. I mean, I just ordered a bunch of this. My books I've been reading. My mom just sent me this earlier this week. As y'all can see, I got my thing in there. Like I'm actually.
I just shipped you three. I shipped you 3 books today.
I
So
just bought my 4th Bible this week. Going into that again. I bought the NLT one this time, and I think at first I had the NIV one, so I got both copies of it. But yeah, I just been doing a lot of reading. Like the information is out there. If you don't know something, it's enough resources out there to find out, and even for free. Like I'm pretty sure you can even ask ChatGPT, hey, how can I learn this for free? What's the best way I can learn this for minimal cost or stuff like that? If you know people are having trouble paying for different stuff, but definitely find a way to put yourself in front of the information, and just remember that everything glitter ain't gold, and salt look exactly like sugar. So just because that person got 2 million followers, that might not be the first person that you want to, go and follow and buy their course and stuff. But just make sure you're putting yourself in front of the information.
I love that. And I think that's a great way to end the show. Also, I did say that I shipped you 3 books today. In the meeting I had, the person had ran off some books that we don't have. And I was just, some of them we had, some of them we didn't. So I shipped you and Marty some books today. And I actually sent the same books to me. So you should have a shipment coming with a few different books. I think I sent you The Psychology of Money and like 2 or 3 other ones. So they should be coming. But yes, check on your strong friends. I definitely appreciate it. Brandon said you can say that again, bro. Yeah. So we definitely appreciate you guys for tuning in for another episode of Finance Friday. Jordan likes your quote also.
Thank you, Jordan. Appreciate everybody for tuning in on this Friday. We know it's late. Some people, we on different time zones. I know it's almost 8:30 where some of y'all at. So we definitely appreciate y'all every Friday being here. And we see y'all again next Friday.
Yes, thank you for tuning in. We will see you guys on the next episode of Finance Friday, the CEO Lounge. Thank you again. Have a great evening.